That one. Hey everybody, Cody T here. Welcome back to the channel. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. The rest of this is going to be the burning, for those that aren't interested in the pyrography side of things. So the inspiration behind this was just the good old smash it up, mash it up. Wanted to take a main animal and then just add characteristics of other animals to it. Slightly mutated. I like to build up my blacks in case I don't, like what I'm doing. It's easier to take some 320 grit sandpaper to it and take it back off. If you go jet black from the beginning, it's hard to recover. I also like how subtle it is when you build your blacks up. You don't have any scorch, you don't have any divots marred down into the wood. It's like everything was brought up with a slow roast. I'll use mostly the spear shader for the majority of this. You can turn it all sorts of ways. You can use it on its edge, you can use it on its point. If you kind of twist and roll with it, you can get, calligraphic lines. Just a good overall burning tip. The other one I use all the time is the skew outliner. And honestly, that's the only two tips I use for almost everything. I know there's all sorts of pyrography tips on the market for kind of special use purposes, feathering of birds or, whatever other detailing tips there are. There's probably even an oval one I could have used on these fish scales, but I like to keep it simple. If I can make something with one tool, why buy all those other ones? Yeah, personally, I think the modern woodworker is a little too obsessed with jigs and just things that make other things easy. And I include myself in that category. I got a sphere jig. It's supposed to let you turn perfect spheres with it, but honestly, I can just spend the time and have the calipers and turn it just as close as a perfect as what the jig gives me. I just take my time and have patience. And for me, that's kind of the whole point of woodworking. I mean, the reason I do any of this is to just calm down and you know these all these circles and shapes and little details I'm doing. Might seem kind of daunting to somebody else, but it's just kind of like it just helps my brain reload and calm down. I'm not really thinking about anything. But yeah, that patience, see, that's the key. That's what's being lost. Um, you like a work of art. If you think about old architecture structures and things like that, some of those took good long time to build. And this go-go modern society we have, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't leave room for masterpieces. But that's not to say there's not those that still appreciate someone that takes the time to do something right and does it in a way that other people will enjoy it later on as well. And maybe that's kind of the key of it. Maybe we as a society we got tired of being unappreciated on our time to build something for the future. Maybe that's what it's all about. The faster we can build something and the faster we can make a name for ourselves, then the more we'll get our recognition in our own lifetime, I guess. I don't know. Just a thought. It's kind of a ramble after all. But anyway, back to the work at hand here. This is where it really started to be a challenge when you're working with just grayscale. You got to really separate the fish from the background, from the water, from everything. It really became a challenge because you have to burn dark enough that it won't fade, and then you have to, still have that difference. It's kind of tricky in wood burning. Everything can get muddy in a hurry. Um, so you really got to utilize your highlights and your shadows. You also want to take in the consideration that wood darkens over time. So sometimes those lighter parts, sadly, they just darken to the same tone of the wood. Um, but if you use a proper oil or finish that has a good UV protection in it, even just a beeswax, because even beeswax has good UV protection. That's why they use it in chapsticks. Um, yeah, just protect it from UV rays, and don't put it in direct sunlight if you can. If you ever happen to have a pyrography art piece in your home, just want to be mindful of things like that. And that goes for any wood project. They all darken over time. Your brown and darker woods just darken, and then your medium woods kind of amber, and then your lighter woods sometimes yellow. So it's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. Yeah, roughing out the smokestack cloud here is where I was using that kind of drag and roll technique. You kind of see those little swoops I got in the clouds there. A little double-tailed dragonfly friend. And this is definitely wanted to be gentle here. Um, Talking about contrast and muddying things up, it was a real challenge to get the cloud, the smoke cloud to look the way I wanted without, you know, totally taking the fish head away and all the action going on there, which I knew it was going to be a challenge. This was going to be probably the most challenging part of the whole burning. I suppose I could have just kept it minimalist, like you see there. I just wanted a little more depth to the clouds. Of course, I only thought I was done here. I got a second opinion and needed more water. A few final strokes and touches, and that's about it. Put some oil on it, and that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end, like, share, and subscribe if you want. I'll see you on the next one.